When people are young, they think about the future. When people are older, they think about meaning. Not because they've given up on life, but because they've lived enough to know what actually matters. Older minds are quieter. Not empty, but selective. They don't chase every thought. They don't react to every noise. They reflect. And today, we're exploring what older people think about the most, not through stereotypes, but through real psychology, emotional patterns, and lived experience. This is not about decline. It's about clarity. Time becomes visible when you're young. Time feels endless. When you're older, time feels tangible. Psychologically, aging shifts perception. Time is no longer abstract. The future feels shorter. The present feels heavier. Older people think about time not with fear, but with awareness. They think about how fast life moved, where time was well spent, where it was wasted. Time stops being currency. It becomes meaning. Regret, but not the way people think. Older people don't obsess over every mistake. They think about missed connections, words left unsaid, time not given to people who mattered. Psychology shows regret in older age is less about failure and more about relationships. They don't regret working hard. They regret not being present enough. Relationships over achievements. As people age, priorities reorganize. Achievements fade. Relationships remain. Older people think often about family, friends. They lost touch with people who shaped their life. Titles don't visit you in old age. People do. And that realization changes everything. Identity without performance. Younger identity is performative. Career, status, productivity. Older identity is internal. Character, integrity, values. Older people think about who they were, not what they were. They ask themselves, was I kind? Was I fair? Did I live honestly? Identity becomes moral, not social. Health as freedom. When health is good, it's invisible. When it declines, it becomes central. Older people think often about physical ability, independence, mental clarity, not out of fear, but because health equals autonomy. Health is no longer aesthetic. It's functional. Peace over excitement. Older minds crave calm. Drama feels unnecessary. Noise feels exhausting. Conflict feels expensive. Psychology shows emotional regulation improves with age. Older people think about simplicity, routine, emotional peace. They don't want intensity. They want stability. Meaning of suffering. Older people have lived through loss. They've experienced death, disappointment, failure, change. They think about suffering differently. Not why did this happen, but what did this teach me? Pain becomes integrated, not avoided. Legacy without ego. Legacy isn't fame, it's impact. Older people think about what they passed on, who they helped, what they modeled. Legacy becomes quiet. Values, lessons, memories, not applause. The illusion of urgency. Younger minds live in urgency. Older minds live in perspective. Older people think about how much stress was unnecessary, how many things didn't matter in the end. They understand most problems fade, most fears never happen, most people are too busy with themselves. Urgency dissolves. Forgiveness comes late. Forgiveness is easier with time. Older people think about who they held resentment toward, who they wish they forgave. Sooner they realize resentment costs more than forgiveness. Peace becomes more important than being right. The value of ordinary moments. Big moments are rare. Ordinary moments are constant. Older people think often about simple conversations, quiet mornings, familiar routines. They understand life was never about peaks. It was about continuity. Acceptance of limits. Aging teaches limits. Energy is finite. Attention is selective. Time is precious. Older people think carefully before giving energy away. They don't chase everything. They choose. Fewer questions, better answers. Older minds ask fewer questions, but deeper ones. They don't ask, what will people think? They think, does this align with who I am? External validation loses power. Fear of death or acceptance of it. Most older people don't obsess over death. They think about dying well, leaving peace behind, not being a burden. Death becomes part of the story, not the enemy. Gratitude replaces ambition. Ambition fuels youth. Gratitude fuels maturity. Older people think often about what they had, what they survived, what they were given. Gratitude becomes grounding. What they wish younger people knew, they wish younger people understood. Time is faster than you think. People matter more than success. Peace is worth protecting. You don't need to prove everything. Wisdom is quiet because it can't be rushed. Older people don't think less. They think deeper. They don't live smaller lives. They live more intentional ones. They've traded urgency for understanding, noise for clarity, ego for meaning, and that's not decline. That's evolution. If this video made you pause, if it made you reflect, subscribe to this channel, because here we don't fear aging. We understand it. Like the video, share it with someone who thinks getting older means losing something. And remember, aging doesn't take wisdom away. It reveals it.